Good evening, VC. It's Thursday evening here in Germany, and I was just in the mood to show you some of my records. And today's video is going to be about metal. I was just watching the live show of Iron Maiden. They played at the famous German festival called Rock am Ring, and it was broadcasted to the television, and I'm just blown away by their live performance. Still, after all these years, the drummer got 62 years old tonight, and they celebrated his birthday somehow. And I mean, great. It was a fantastic show. So in the last couple of weeks I was listening to jazz mostly and to other stuff, but I still have a small metal collection, and I love metal. And most of the records I'm going to show I just bought when I started collecting. So some of them were dusty or dirty or whatever, and since I got a Clear Audio record cleaner last year, I sometimes pick out a lot of my old records and clean them, and then I kind of like pick a playlist, and that's what I did 2 weeks ago. And the metal batch I listened to was still put together in one Expedit cube, and I wanted to show that to you. So the first record I'm going to show is Metallica, Master of Puppets. This couldn't be more essential. It was my introduction to metal, and it's, to my mind, I think there was a thread in the VC about this. It's the best metal record of all time. I mean, it's everything said about it, but I just wanted to show that to you because I cleaned my copies and wanted to check out which one is the best. So I have 3 copies in total, and I clean all of them, and then I wanted to decide which one is the best. So this is the 45 RPM reissue, which I don't like that much. This is a European repress from the 80s. Whoops. And my favorite pressing is the UK pressing on Music for Nations, on the Music for Nations label. I hope you can see that way. The cover is beat up a little bit, but the record is placed perfect. And to my mind, this is the best copy, or the best pressing to own. Up next, another big classic. It's Slayer, Rain and Blood, and it's such a heavy album. I mean, it can't be any heavier. And especially the track called Angel of Death is very interesting because the lyrics are about a German Nazi doctor who did experiments with people, and I mean, the lyrics are so bad actually and very dark, but I love this album. It's very good, of course. Up next is Pantera, Far Beyond Driven. This is the original pressing from the 90s, German pressing I think, and it has this pressing. It's a limited edition or a collector's edition, and it has the forbidden cover. So if you check Discogs, you will find out that the cover later looked a little bit different. Very happy to have that. Then I listened to Motorhead, Ace of Spades. Of course, one of my favorite hard rock heavy metal albums. Lemmy has still a great voice, although he smokes and drinks so much. But it's all-time classic. I listen to death actually. Up next, Metallica, Load. I know that a lot of you don't like the Metallica stuff from the 90s, but I do. They don't have to do the Master of Puppets again and again, and I really like their 90s stuff too. Of course, they are not my favorite Metallica albums, but they are still solid. The only thing I don't like about Load and Reload is it's of course 2 albums on 4 LPs. I mean, to be honest, I think it would have been better if they would have done only 1 album, but then with half of the songs, so 1 double album and not 2 double albums. That would have been better, but I don't care, that's the way it is. Up next, Van Halen. This is a Japanese pressing. I clean it and listen to it, and of course it sounds fantastic, and To my mind, this one and also the this 1984 album are the best ones, or the ones to own. I have all of them actually, but only these two as Japanese pressings, and I really like the cover art too. I had that framed some time ago, and just a classic album. It features Jump, of course, and a lot of other great tracks. So talking about Iron Maiden, I cleaned my copies of The Number of the Beast. It's hard to say which one is my favorite Iron Maiden album, because they are all great, but I guess it would be maybe Number of the Beast or Power Slave. So again, as I said, I cleaned all my copies. I have 3 copies in this case, UK one, German copy, and actually they all played great. Maybe I'm going to sell 1 or maybe even 2. Then I played some Black Sabbath. This is just called Black Sabbath, the collection, because I didn't want to listen to the studio albums again and again, so I picked this collection and I cleaned it, and I just listened to it a little bit in the background some days ago. The next one, Quiet Riot, Condition Critical. And talking about Black Sabbath, Paranoid, of course. This is a great classic. It's a German first pressing on the Vertigo Swirl label, and I don't know, no words needed. And as I said, I cleaned all my doubles to check out which version is the best. I have 3 Paranoid copies in total, 2 on the Vertigo Swirl label, 2 German ones, and 1 Spanish pressing. It's a repress, I think, from the early 80s on the Ariston label. That's how it looks like. Of course, the Vertigo first pressing sounds a lot better, but buy what you can get. Up next is a 90s record by Slayer, and this one, it's called Divine Intervention, and I checked that on Discogs because I wasn't actually sure what pressing I have, and it appeared to be a US first pressing, and the vinyl is on clear red vinyl, and this is actually going for big bucks. I didn't know that. Perfect condition, and I like the album musically too, so sometimes I don't even know what I have in the collection, so that was good that I cleaned this one and finally found out what pressing it is. Up next, another 90s metal record, Sepultura, Chaos AD, and I think it's made in 1993. So that's a great one too. And up next are 2 records by Body Count. Ice-T does the vocals on their albums, and I read in the Facebook group that there is a new album upcoming. So that's the debut, Body Count, and I also got Born Dead. There you can see him. And I cleaned some more Iron Maiden. This is Killers. I think this is a Dutch pressing. Yeah, that's a Dutch pressing. So a lot of these records I already showed were dusty, and I cleaned them and just perfect. I mean, I always took care of what I bought, but sometimes when you see they are dusty but they don't have any hairlines or scratches, you just have to buy them and keep them for cleaning them later. And the next Iron Maiden I cleaned was Power Slave, and that might be my favorite Iron Maiden album too. It changes sometimes, but that's definitely a great one. The next one is Anthrax. This one, Fistful of Metal. It's also on the Music for Nations label. Let me show that to you. Cover looks like this. And here you can see it. Music for Nations. It's actually Music for Nations 14, so it's one of the early label titles. and I played AC/DC Back in Black. Of course, a classic too, not much to say about it. I have different pressings. This one is a repress on 180 gram vinyl, and it's made in 2003. I didn't check my other copies yet, but this already sounds very, very good. And the last record for today is Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. And this cover was forbidden in Germany or in Europe after they released the record, because it shows a violent scene, and they didn't want to sell this here in Germany. I also have a... Wait, maybe I can even find it. No, I can't find it at the moment. But I also have a different pressing with the cover they reproduced later. So, that's it for today. That was a little metal video, and before I forget it, I wanted to make a big shout out to Daniel James, aka the Advent Chronicles, that's his YouTube name. Daniel, I'm sure you like this video, and you're a great guy. I really enjoy your videos too. And also a shout out to Carsten from Denmark. I always enjoy his videos, and especially the VC imitations were so funny, sometimes almost better than the original, if you know what I mean. Carsten, I really enjoy your videos too, and you're always great. And last but not least, a quick shout out to Johan from Sweden. He just joined the VC and showed some cool metal records too. And yeah, thanks for watching and take care. See you soon.